Hey, hey. Hey, hey, it's hockey day. Happy Oktoberfest tournament to all of our viewers joining us for game 2 of the Oktoberfest tournament here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We're at Breslow Arena again. If you missed game 1, the Mavericks unfortunately fell to the Tri-City Storm 3-1. We had a terrific game. A couple of first period goals for the Tri-City Storm got the Mavericks fired up and chasing the rest of the game pretty hard, spending a lot of the majority of the rest of that game in the offensive zone and putting pressure on the Tri-City Storm, but just struggled to put more than one in the back of the net. So I think the boys are understanding the tone and the pace of the tournament, and they're ready to fire up themselves for game 2.
I think the coaches have to be happy with the effort the guys gave and the way they were really pushing that game in the second and third periods. But yeah, there's a lot of little things usually at this time of year that you want to clean up and do a little bit better at. And I think one of the things that a lot of our first-year Bantams are sort of getting used to is that time and space idea and how much less of it they have against bigger, faster, stronger players. And that'll come with time for sure. This is just the third game that they played here this afternoon. This will be their 4th game of the year. So we'll see, if they can keep making incremental steps to the positive.
You're absolutely right, Dave. The physical play isn't quite there yet, even though this is the start of that physical play in this division. 14U marks the start of checking being allowed in the sport for these young hockey players. And I'd like to say a majority of the hitting, even though there wasn't a ton in that first game, majority of it was relatively clean play, good shoulder-to-shoulder contact, good competitive contact, we like to call it before.
Right.
And if we can keep up that rate of play, I think we'll be in good shape. One thing I'm noticing right off the bat is the bench depth on our opponent compared to the first opponent we faced.
Yeah, well, against Tri-City, they had 10 skaters and a goalie. And by comparison, we have 2 goalies, and we have 18 skaters. We're down 1 because of Charlie Patera's injury, but so, yeah, we had quite a few more guys to avail ourselves of. And Tri-City hung in there. You wonder over the course of a 4-game tournament what those boys will look like on Sunday. They still got some pretty good players, some good athletes on that team, so I'm not worried about Tri-City. It'll be interesting to see how our guys bounce back here in this afternoon's game.
So Kansas City Icehawks are who we'll face, and they're in their light-colored white jerseys. They're playing the role of the home team for this particular game. The OMA Jr Mavericks are in their darks again with their new dark jerseys with a cursive Omaha on the front and looking sharp as ever.
Yeah, the squirt team for the KC Icehawks played just before us, beating a team from Wichita quite handily. So we can expect that this particular program has probably got a pretty good Bantam team too.
Like I was saying, a lot of depth on their bench. They've brought the numbers just like the Omaha Mavericks have, so I don't suspect this game will slow down in pace at any particular point of the game.
18 skaters I just counted.
So size-wise, looking relatively even matched. I see some bigger skaters out there. I know Omaha Mavericks have quite the variety. I'd say, if anything, we're on the larger size for the majority of the boys that are starting to get some maturity and some size development on them. We've still got a handful of smaller ones, and I'm seeing a little bit of that on the Icehawks team as well. So should be a relatively size equal comparison as we come into this one. Dave, do you happen to know if this team's already played today and what they did?
No, this is their first game.
First game of the day for the Icehawks.
Our game was the first Bantam game of the day, and so this is their first game. They'll be well rested for sure. And out to start well.
I don't think so.
Let's talk about the hitting, Matt, and we did see some good hits in that first game. Some mostly clean hits. And that's something I think our first-year players are still kind of figuring out is how to hit and when to hit. and what the hits can do for you over the course of a game. You can wear down another team. You can really make them get a little gun shy and force them to throw the puck where they don't want to throw it. And that's important as they figure that out.
You'll hear us use the term shoulder to shoulder a lot. Cleanest hitting and checking is hip checking and shoulder checking. And anything that doesn't involve the head is a clean hit. Anything that's on the front or the side of the body is a clean hit. Checking from behind, obviously, is when it gets really dangerous. So trying to keep everybody up to pace on rule play, fair play of the game. Likely going to see the beast, Easton, newcomer, in the net. We saw Rosie, Rosario Caniglia, in the net for the first game. Took a lot of shots and progressed well as that game challenged him and carried through the 3 periods. So I would say Rosie did a good job of carrying his weight here, especially in the latter 2/3. The first couple of goals that went in, he didn't get a whole lot of help from his team, and you can't point at the goalie when goals are scored quickly in the game like that. I would say the whole team had a good responsibility in those 2 early goals in the first period against the Mavericks. So looking forward to seeing the beast out there. We got a lot of nicknames, and hopefully you're aware of your player's nickname if you're watching from home.
I was throwing those out quite fast and furious in that first game, hoping that everybody knew who I was talking about. And if there ever comes a time for some clarification, please let us know.
A little goalie. We got a couple helpers in the booth today. Charlotte squared. 2 Charlottes up here in the booth. Both of them are going to help out with tracking the goal scoring and some of our highlights through our data app. So T squared takes the face off with Tremaine, and
that is Taz.
Taz out there on forward. Face off goes back to Kansas City. We've got Nandor and Fleming out there. Taz took a shot from a puck, I believe. He's getting up rather slow. Fleming helps him out. A lot of back and forth in the neutral zone. Worked up the boards there. T-Square gets it tapped off of his tape. Back into the neutral zone. Fleming helps out. Dumps it in. The chasers are pretty much everybody. Taz loses an edge in the corner. KC gets it out of their zone. Bobbled there in the neutral zone. Up by Heater. Quick change on the fly. Oh, sorry, that was T-squared. Sorry. Stonebreaker comes out here. We're getting a quick change on the fly. Sturba comes out now. KC gets through the neutral zone with some speed, tied up quickly by Fleming. Puck goes behind the net. KC still getting it around the boards. Sturba comes in to try and turn it over, but KC shakes it off the boards to the center of the ice. Out in the middle, a shot and a gentle tap in. Kansas City, within the first 2 minutes of the game, have opened up the scoring and made it 1-0 already. Yes.
1:09 into our 12-minute first period. And that was just another case of just somebody getting free in front of the net, and nice centering pass.
Sturba, Heater, Stonebreaker on the face-off drop will reset. That's the boss and the bear on defense. Some back and forth in the neutral zone. Sturba tries to fire it down ice. It gets blocked by a defender. There goes, oh, I'm sorry, that's not Bear, that's Ike over on the opposite D. So Ike took a big hit. He got back up quickly. Puck goes, finally makes its way into KC's end, but they turn it over, pop it off the boards, quickly through the neutral zone. Trying to gain center ice, they do. Nice body by Hecky. Wyatt pushed him down there and prevented a good shot on goal. Behind the net, out to the boss. Over to Sturba. Sturba turns it over. Back to the boss again. Cross ice. Heater runs into a man. Turned over. Brought back into their zone. And then Stonebreaker fires it out to the neutral zone. KC collects in their own end. Change on the fly for both teams. KC edging through the neutral zone. The boss takes ones off the chest. Bounces back out. Loses control at the blue line. Mavs lose control. There's the puck, kind of gently goes into center ice. Allers picks it up. Stick handles past one. Shot just wide. Court right, deep in the corner. Pokes it out. Schneider packs in. Gets bullied off the puck, but keeps the puck in deep below the goal line. Here comes Allers. Trying to get the body. Schneider trying to help, but the puck came out. A back check on Keeney. Keeney pops back up. Puck comes into Maverick territory. Turned over by the Bear. Bear! He's got some skating room. Defense hurries back. Fires right up on top, and sticked out of midair. Out of the crease. T-square, fire, score! A bobbled puck in the air from the Bears' first shot. Got sticked out of the way. And then a rebound come off the boards, and T-square's there to pick it up in the middle and fire one on the ice right past the tendy.
Will took that shot, and it ricocheted off the defender, and T-squared right there to scoop it up. And good pursuit there by the Junior Mavericks.
Face-off drop. Jack Davis, Taz, and T-squared out there on offense. Abram, Keeney, and the Bear still out there on defense. A little back and forth in the neutral zone before it goes deep. T-squared on the chase. Rung around behind the net. The Bear stops it at the point, fires. Nice try to deflect by T-square, but that one comes all the way back out to Keeney at the other point. Jack Davis tries to fire it back in deep again. Goes wide behind. T-squared battling two off the short wall. Fires out to the middle. KC there to pick it up. Cross ice pass. Kansas City gets stalled out before they cross the blue line. They touch up on sides, but the Bear pushes it right back out of the zone. T-squared along the board. Nice pass out to Jack Davis. Can't quite keep his stick on it with a defender right on top of it. Comes back to Bear in the circle. Cross ice to Keeney. One touch up to Heater. Heater loses control into KC territory, but he's on the forecheck. KC rings behind their net. Heater loses his footing. Kansas City, nice block shot by Wyatt Tremaine, but KC now skating it back out of their zone. Through the neutral zone into offensive territory, and that one's going to be
offside on the play.
Offside. I thought he was pointing at us like we bodied that man down. I'm not sure what happened there. Offside's the play. That'll stop the clock with 7:47 left in the first period. 1-1 the score here in Lincoln for the Oktoberfest Game 2. Sturba, Tremaine, Heater out there on offense. Nice poke up ahead by Tremaine, and Sturba hustles to it to put it in deep. Heater trying to body to take it over. Turned over, Stonebreaker shot, deflected by defense. Puck goes into the corner. Sturba can't body his man. Fleming keeps it in at the point. On the short wall, Sturba uses his feet, feed to the middle, and that one, I don't know if the goalie got a hold of or not, but it comes to the other side. Tremaine tries to center it, picked up by KC. KC with a breakaway, shot well wide of the net. Backs up and around, Nandor gets it out. Sturba pokes it out of the zone the full way. A whiffed pass by KC. Second attempt puts it in deep. Mavs pick it up in their own zone. Cross ice to Nandor. Nandy whiffs his first attempt. Gets it taken away. KC marching into the zone. The Beast pokes it away. A dangerous loose puck in the slot. Poked up to Courtright. Courtright over to Schneider. Schneider has got a man on him. Gets bodied off the puck, but he's staying with the forecheck. Puck comes off the short wall, and now KC goes cross ice with it. KC making their way into offensive territory. Sold out, top of the circle. Shot goes well wide into the opposite corner. Paxson tries to feed across to the middle. That comes all the way back out to the neutral zone. Just out of reach of Courtright. Stonebreaker trying to forecheck. Here comes Paxson. He gets bodied from behind. KC makes it into the zone. Lots of defense. Puck goes loose into the Mavs corner again. Fleming pushes it up the short wall. Stonebreaker gets it out of the zone. Courtright on the forecheck at KC. The turnover. Courtright all alone. Shot. Score! Courtright picks up the loose bobbled puck at the top of the circle and buries it to put the Mavs ahead 2-1. Let's get that goal. Let's go.
What a great opportune play by Jakes. Jumped on that one, picked his corner.
Yep.
What a snipe.
Good job. Sorry, helping out with the goal scoring here as well. T-squared. We got Taz.
Well,
and Will Allers on the face-off drop. We got Wyatt Ecke and the boss out there on defense. Face-off is kind of a neutral win, goes back to Kansas City, and they quickly get it back into Maverick territory, but just before the red line, so that's going to be an icing call. Play will stop at 5:39 left in the first period. 2-1, your Mavericks in the lead. Face-off will come back down to KC's territory here. Same legs remain on the ice.
First lead of the year for the Mavericks now.
First lead of the year. How about that? KC with the face-off win. Pop fly it out of the territory. That's likely to be an icing once again. Stops the play now with 5:32 left in the first period. Here's where those face-off wins start coming in. We practiced them this week. Aller's a very strategic centerman on the face-off drop. You know he's thinking and looking who to put this one back to. That one goes ahead. KC picks it up, quickly turned over. T-square stick handling, gets it bobbled off his tape. Wyatt Ecke, a shot that gets blocked by defense. Ecke battling, that one pops up over into the Kansas City bench. Play stop now with 5:21 left in the first period. That one's gonna remain surprisingly in territory. I guess that's where it was when it popped out of play.
Yeah, it might have gone off one of the KC players. If that's the case, from their zone, it would keep it there for the face-off.
They'll line up with the same legs on the ice again. A third face-off in a row in KC territory. Hollers with a different technique on the face-off drop. Kind of a neutral win. Good job by Ecke to keep it in. KC intercepts, pops it just out of the zone. The boss pushes it in, but that one's just offsides. Lots of play stoppage. This is going to give line changes for both teams as we mark 5:09 left in the first period now. A neutral zone face-off towards KCN. Jack Davis, Vinny Heater, Braden Sturba come out on the face-off drop. Win back to the Bear, over to Abram Keeney on defense. He clears it in. The chaser is Heater. KC tries to go up the short wall, pinched. Sturba backhands it in. Tries to go to the center, sticked away by the Tendy. Jack Davis on his horse to catch it at the short wall. Omaha can't keep it in. Comes loose back to Maverick territory. Keeney picks it up. He's got a minute. Tries to backhand it to Davis. Davis off the short wall to Jack. Jack up to Sturba. Sturba, long pass cross ice to Heater. Heater picks it up just in the zone. He gets pinched hard. Here comes Keeney at the blue line. Keeney marches in, fires off the goalie save. That one through the crease. The second attempt went back to the opposite boards. Rung around behind the net. Keeney poke checks it. Gets bodied hard at the bench.
High follow through.
Comes out of the zone, a 2-on-1. Keeney back checking. Bear ties his man up. Keeney fires it to get it out of the zone. He does. Sturba, neutral zone, cross ice pass right to KC. KC fires it. Keeney's going to pick it up in his own circle. Keeney backhands it to Bear. Bear loses an edge. Sturba's there to help. They can't quite get it out of the zone. Mavericks bunching up. Long pass over to Heater. Heater's going to get it out. Heater through the neutral zone. Gets poke checked and stalled out. Right before he can get in the territory, he's going to try a dump and chase. KC coming in. Fleming uses his shoulder to stall it out as it crosses the blue line. Tremaine turns it over. A feed to the middle. Couldn't quite get the stick on it. Courtright now charging through the neutral zone. Cross to Sturba. Sturba gets the shot just wide. Courtright can't quite get there for the rebound. KC passing it ahead. Lots of defense back. Poke checking and breaking up the charge. Fleming's going to get there first in the corner. Hits the break. Dodges one. Rings it up the short wall to Courtright. Gets turned over. KC pushing it towards the net but can't quite get it there. Courtright's going to try again. A bouncing puck at the blue line. Paxson and Courtright marching it slowly through the neutral zone before it's turned over by KC and brought back the other way. KC outnumbered by defense. They get it into Omaha territory. And there's Nandor pushing it up to Paxson. A lot of feet and sticks in the way. They're struggling to get the puck ahead. Little back and forth in the neutral zone. No real true attack time by either team. Until now, Paxson tries to get one from the blue line, and that one went off a defenseman's leg. Nandor kept it in. Nandor from the top of the circle, just over the top of the net. Nice job by T-Squared to keep it in. That one's going to blow dead offside.
Oh, those guys came flying off the bench, didn't they? And what a collision.
Woo!
That's good pursuit of the puck, though.
Yes, it was. T-Square was coming off a line change, and he made it just in time to stop that from getting offsides the first time, but the second time he couldn't rescue it. Stonebreaker, Taz, T-Squared on offense. Ike, the boss on defense. 2:15 left in the first period. 2-1, Mavericks in the lead. KC pushed the face-off win a little bit too hard in Omaha zone, and that's an icing. 2:10 now left in this first period. Nice little breather as both lines coast down to KC territory for a face-off drop. Stonebreaker, T-Square, Taz on the face-off drop. Taz way over on the far side. Puck comes back to Ike. Boss to the middle. Taz can't quite tap it in. Intercepted by KC and quickly passed out of the zone. That one should go all the way for another icing. I liked what I saw there by that face-off setup. Taz was lined up with his left winger. The right winger was way on the left wing side, and the defenseman, Eki, was able to try and get the shot through traffic where Taz was set up right next to the net. If that wouldn't have got interrupted by defense, that could have been a really big shot on goal chance.
Yeah, just even a little elevation off that shot would have done the trick.
Tied up off the face-off. The boss goes cross ice with it. Ike's going to hightail it to keep it in. KC can't quite get it out. Ike recovered off the boards. Ike, move and shake to stay in the middle. Fire, gets blocked by defensemen. KC picks it up, skates it behind their own. Rung up the short wall. Ike pinches again. Slows it down for a moment, but then it comes back to Stonebreaker at the defensive spot in the center ice. Pushed quickly right back into KC territory. KC, cross ice pass, gets it out of the zone. Centering pass just through his man's hands. And here comes Ike to push it ahead again. Stonebreaker gets tied up at the blue line right as he was getting into the zone. KC was able to turn it over. The boss tried to keep it in, but the KC gets it moving down ice. Face first into the boards by a KC player there, almost on his own behalf. Loose puck through the neutral zone. KC regroups in their own zone. Passes it through the neutral zone, skating through into offensive territory. Lots of defensemen for Mavericks back. Nice pop fly by Sturba over to Heater. Heater misses the carry, pushes it ahead. Stonebreaker to Sturba. Sturba pushes it over to Stonebreaker. Or is that Allers?
Well,
that's Allers now. Change on the fly. KC turned it over. They come into territory. Nice job by Bear to interrupt that play and keep it on the boards. Puck comes out from behind the net. Sturba loses his skate a little bit, but pops it over to Vinny's feet, and Vinny's not able to handle it. KC, two attackers. Sturba gets there to try and body and turn it over. Vinny there to help. Puck in the corner. Sturba with a shot on the goal. That one goes off the side. Rung around the boards. Keeney's able to try and slow it down, but it came out of the zone. KC trying to ring it through, but can't. Here comes the Mavs charging it back into offensive territory right as the buzzer sounds to mark the end of the first period. We're going to take it to second period. Good job. Wait to push it until we start, please. I like what I see in that second period. Another quick goal right at the start kind of deflates the Omaha Mavericks quickly right out of the gate again, but then that gets their legs moving and that puts them in this game really quick. I'm almost saying we've seen a lot more neutral zone attack by both teams. I don't see a lot of the play on attack getting below the tops of the circles on either end of the ice.
It's hard to get there. It really is. Credit to KC. They made it hard for us to get through to the goalie. And the same thing for our guys. I think our guys have done a good job of forcing their attack out to the walls, keeping them on the periphery, and keeping those good quality scoring shots away from Beast. Beast, after that first shot, didn't have a ton of work in that first period, and that's the way you want it. You want a board goalie back there.
Beast was going cross crease on that, and he was just caught completely off guard. And quite honestly, our defense was caught off guard because that was a soft touch tap to their player with a really gentle shot that just caught him on our heels and completely at nap time. And I tell you what, coach is going to really light him up for that one because, and he already did, because we're 2-1 and back in the lead and back in control of this game. for the first time this season.
First time this season, and something to build on for sure.
Yep. So here we go. Nice sportsmanship by the two goalies of each team. Gonna fist bump before they head to the opposite sides of the ice. Courtright with 1 goal today. Out there with Jack Davis and Paxson.
Yes.
And then we've got Keeney and the Bear on defense. Another KC faceoff win. They pass it ahead and charge quickly into the zone.
That's going to
be He gets stirred up. That's going to be a penalty by...
tripping or kneeing, I think, on Bear.
A little bit too aggressive on the attack by the Bear as he charged straight ahead and played the man.
They'll give him a rough for that.
They called a roughing. You took... A lot of times it's how many steps you take before you go to take that hit, and referees will look. If there's 2 or more steps taken before you hit and collide a player, they'll call that a roughing.
Well, this will be the first test of the Mavericks penalty kill in this game. They did a sharp job against Tri-City in the opening game. I believe Tri-City had 3 power plays and they were 0 for 3 with a man advantage.
So first power play of the game, and it'll be for KC. Face-off in Omaha territory. Nice face-off win by the Omaha Mavericks. Tremaine's out there on this short-handed shift with Stonebreaker. Those are the 2 offensive men with Fleming and Ike on defense. KC from deep in their own territory. Cross-ice centering pass to get them through the neutral zone. They gain territory, forced to the wall. Dump it back to the blue line, then dump it right back in. Nope, turned over by Tremaine. Tremaine, centering pass. Here comes Stonebreaker. A pop fly, can't quite make it to the net. Turned over, and now KC coming back the other way. What a good short-handed opportunity there by Stonebreaker.
Stoney was a little slow to get up, and that's an offside call against the Mavericks. Stoney's still collecting himself here.
Stonebreaker and Tremaine, good job to pop it off the boards and create a short-handed breakout opportunity for the Omaha Mavericks. We'll line up at neutral zone with Allers and Heater out there on the short-handed unit with Ike and Keeney now on defense. Face-off goes back to KC territory for just a quick second, and then KC charges into Omaha. It's in. Ike ties him up, or is that Nandor? Sorry, Nandor ties him up along the boards, creates this turnover. He's going to chase his own board pass, try to work it out, and can't. Defense keeps it in. Centering pass goes through everybody and winds up on the other side, back at the blue line. Shot from the blue line goes to the corner again. KC out to the other blue line, a wide shot, high and almost a headhunter there. Now KC, stick handling off the boards, gets to the middle, a backhander, and what a rifle it was. Luckily went high and over the net. KC doing a good job of keeping it in on this power play as the power play expires. KC on the charge there. Keeney stirring it up, tries to fire it out of the net fire it out of the zone, and he does. Loose puck stalls out right before it hits the goal line. Perfect clear from Abram Keeney. KC able to ring it around the short wall and get it out of their zone. Keeney collects at the blue line, dumps it off the boards. KC picks it up and starts the charge again. KC whittling their way into Omaha territory. Turned over by Keeney. Keeney off the boards up to T-Square. T-Square, Allers, and Heater out there. T-Square outnumbered. Works his way through the slot and into the corner. Taz keeps it in. KC to the rescue, fires it out, and they're just going to ice it to stop this clock and the charge that Mavericks were putting on net. Once they gained full strength, boy, they really gained territory and started putting some force on them.
Well, and again, that was a good penalty kill. I mean, that penalty was over in no time. I looked over, it's like, oh shoot, we got our fifth guy back. But forcing KC to shoot from the edges. And that's exactly where you want it on a penalty kill.
That's right. Taz, Schneider, Jack Davis out there, Ike, and the boss on defense. Shot from the blue line by Omaha, goes to the corner. Ike picks it up at the blue line, blocked by Legs, comes back out to Ike. He gets control, skates it in. Stuck in the corner with some defensemen. A little shake and bake in the corner. Ike, his defender fell on him, gives him a clearing, gets to the middle, shot goes through the slot. KC picks it up. Stall out behind their own net. Jack Davis on the attack. Here comes the boss. Fires. Big save by Kansas City. Loose puck in the crease. Now goes behind. Lots of players tied up as Kansas City comes out from behind the net. The board pass will get it out. The boss is the first one to it. Boss rings it around the boards. That one's going to come all the way out of the zone, tie up in a line change of feet. That's too many men, but they're not going to blow it. KC tries to shovel it ahead, turn it over at the blue line. They're going to keep coming into the zone. From the short ball, shot off the side of the net. And then kicked to the middle, then kicked out of the crease. Big save by the Beast. Now Omaha trying to march through the neutral zone. They turn it over quickly to Kansas City. Top of the circle, KC passes it into the neutral zone, but another player will bat it off of his tape. A pass to the middle, big save by the Beast! Puck goes loose to the corner. Jack fires it up to Courtright. Courtright takes a shoulder to the head, quickly pops back up. Jack gets it out of the zone. Not much momentum, but the puck goes into Kansas City territory. I think they're going to call that hit on Jacob Courtright. That's a roughing. So Jake popped right back up. Oh, wait, no, that's our power play. Sorry, take that off. There we go.
You know, Matt,
on
that play, you called it a save for Beast, but on the rebound, Boston Gas, Johnny on the spot to clear that rebound from what was a gaping net.
Absolutely. That was an open netter for whoever was ready to follow it up, and Boss cleared it. So we got a power play. Nope. We got a power play. 5-on-4. Mavericks get their first power play of the game. Face off in KC territory. KC with another face-off win, though. KC trying to pinch it up the boards. Nice job by the Bear to keep it in. Allers trying to forecheck. Peter coming in to help. Nice job. Sturba from behind. His shot got deflected, stalled out in the slot, and then wailed out of the zone hard. Fleming's going to come back to collect in his own territory. Fleming behind his own net. Cross ice to Sturbs. Sturbs trying to tap it ahead, turned over in the Omaha territory. A shot from well outside. Beast easily glove saves and stops the play with 7:13 left in the second period. 2-1, your Mavs still in the lead, and there's 54 seconds left in the Omaha Maverick power play. Yeah. Face off in Mav territory. Still a power play going on here. KC with a win. A jostled shot goes wide of the net. KC picks up their own. Circles out to the middle. Not getting much challenge. Another shot. Big save. Rebound goes wide. Austin tries to fire it out. Comes right back to the defense. A shot goes wide again. The Beast is able to glove it as it bounced off his back of his boards and came right back off the side of the net.
Matt, this is the Mavericks power play, and it doesn't look like it right now. We got too much reaching going on for that puck instead of skating those loose pucks and getting them back up ice.
Another face-off win to KC. A shot from the blue line gets deflected back to the corner. Tied up in the corner. Look at the short-handed Kansas City team getting after it. Omaha fires it back to defense again. A shot gets deflected, goes to the corner. Nope. Here comes carrying it out is Ike. Ike making his way through the neutral zone. And offsides is blown as Ike was making his charge to the net. Nope. Surprised they didn't call Jack Davis on that interference. There was a hit with two players. No, neither of them had the puck right at center ice.
Wyatt Tremaine on that play just could not hold himself up in time, and that brought in offside.
6:25 left in the second period. 2-1 Mavs in the lead. 7 seconds left in the power play. Mavs line up in a neutral zone. Nandy over to T-Square. T-Square gets it into the zone. Lots of sticks and skates in the way. Puck goes wide of the net as it coasted in.
5-on-5.
KC loses their footing right before it gets out of the zone, and T-Squared is able to keep it in. Taz is on his horse. Is he gonna create the turnover? Bodied by two, sneaks away. Here comes T-Squared in to help. Pushes it behind the net to Taz. Taz tries to feed the middle, couldn't quite get there. Now the loose puck coming back out to the blue line. Nandy's going to pick it up at the center ice. Soft toss over to Fleming. Fleming making the charge. Fire well high of the net. Rings around the short wall. Nandy soft tap back in deep. KC returns the favor. Comes bouncing back out to the blue line. Loose at neutral ice. Fleming taking a look at his own blue line, then goes all the way down. That one's an icing. That stops the play with 5:26 left in the second period. Mavs still maintaining a lead. Seeing a little bit more aggressive time on attack there. Once we're even strength, but boy, you're right, Dave. The power play unit needed some help on that last penalty.
This has definitely been a more physical game than the one we saw against Tri-City. A lot more hitting in this game.
Sturba, Peter, Hollers out there on offense. I've got the Bear and Keeney on defense. Hollers doing a good job of tying it up on a neutral face-off win. Puck goes back to Omaha corner. Bear with a pop fly up the short wall. KC collects off the short wall. Hollers trying to battle for it. Here comes Heater to help. Comes back to the blue line. KC, a bouncing shot towards the middle. Beast is going to cover that one up. Dangerous knuckle puck bouncing towards the net on that one. Mavericks starting to fall back into some ways of getting it to their defense, to the opponent's defenseman at the blue line.
Yeah, I can't throw it away in your own zone.
Puck tied up with the referee's feet for a moment. A neutral face-off win ends up on Heater's stick. Heater skating it through the neutral zone. Some defense is back. Can he get through? Puck goes loose behind the net. He tried to feed the middle. Puck comes around the short wall. The Bear can't quite handle it from getting out of the zone. He picks it up at the red line, fires it right back in. KC in control. Circles in front of their net, dumps it behind. Sturba tries to body and create the turnover. In comes Bear to rescue it from coming out of the zone. KC cross ice to get it out. Here comes Keeney to the rescue to keep it from getting the attack too aggressive into their zone. Keeney in control, tries to sauce it up the boards. Muscles his man terrifically off the puck, but the blue line defenseman kept it right back in. Bear from behind his net. Off the glass, that one gets out of the zone. Nice and gently out the neutral zone. KC picks it up, circles into their own territory. Pass to center ice. Keeney stirs it up, and that one's offsides. That would have been a glorious opportunity for that turnover for Keeney right there, had that not been offsides. Out comes Courtright. Paxson.
And that's Wyatt Tremaine.
Wyatt Tremaine on offense. Ike. The boss.
That's boss.
On defense. Omaha with the face-off win. Paxson gets it in the zone. Quickly turned over by KC. They circle behind their own net. Courtright and Paxson trying to create the turnover. They jostle it up. Loose puck back to the opposite corner. Wyatt on the attack. Can he get the puck turned over? He does. Paxson looking from behind. Feeds the boss. Boss fires. Gets kicked to the corner. Courtright can't quite get there first. Ike there to help. Ike. That one gets fired back to Wyatt. Wyatt from the blue line. That one goes wide of the net. Schneider now in the corner. Can't quite get there. Boss keeping it in. KC, soft touch out. Here comes defense. Scott ties it up. No penalty as a big hit was thrown on Wyatt.
Yeah, Tremaine, he got kind of steamrolled there, trying to just settle the puck down. You're focused on the puck so much, you're not bracing yourself for the inevitable hit. And
that one came in off sides as it was hit hard. Or what? Why are they bringing it down? Oh, it wasn't ice.
Yeah.
Okay, that went all the way down. So icing the call. 3:04 left in the second period. 2-1 Mavs in the lead. Jack Davis on the draw. Pokes it back to the defense. Blocks the shot from the defense. KC keeps it in. KC circling, fires well high and wide of the net. Heater catches it on the short wall. Heater working his way up, gets it out. Taz with a little help. Heater getting T-squared. Sorry, that's not Heater. T-squared pulls it off the wall. Lots of men in the way. Forced to the opposite corner. Tries to feed the middle. Can't quite get it to Jack State. Here comes Kansas City out of their zone. 3-on-1. Kansas City charging against Fleming. Shot wide of the net. Andy's back to help. And Nandy feeds it off the wall to himself. T-Squared's there to help. T-Squared gets his shot stirred up and wide of the net. Nandy there along the board. Big hit from behind. Arm goes up. A shot wide of the net. Beast comes out of the goal as we've got a penalty, a delayed call coming up. Finally, Kansas City touches up. And that'll blow the play dead with 2:05 left in the second. Here comes a power play for the Omaha Mavericks. Second power play of the game. Let's see what happens here on this one.
Yeah, he got clipped, and I think the referees were conferring to see, was that a high hit?
I mean, I could call it a roughing. I could call it a check from behind. Out comes Jack Davis, Paxton Schneider.
No, Gavin Davis.
Sorry. Yep, you're right. So the Bear, Schneider, Heater on offense, Sturba, Fleming on defense. Face off in KC territory. Needing to win a face off. Didn't quite do it. Come out to Fleming, batted it out of the air, stopped it at the blue line. Sturba gets his pocket picked. KC gaining the zone, outnumbered by defense. Shot across the crease. Sturba tries to pinch, puck goes in deep. The Bear picks it up behind his own net. The Bear stick handles in front of his own net, crisscrosses, soft pass up to Paxton. Paxton gives it back to Bear. Bear gains territory, stalls at the short wall. He's got a minute, fires at net, glove save, loose puck behind. Paxton goes back to fight for it. Tied up behind the net. Here comes Heater to help. 4, now 5 men behind the net. Puck still in players' skates. Tied up behind, coming loosely out to the crease, and then gets batted hard out of the zone. Fleming's gonna come back to chase. Fleming picks it up behind his goal line, fires a long hard pass. That one's gonna be icing. He was trying to find Vinny Heater's tape, and Vinny just couldn't quite get there to handle that pass. 1 minute, 1 second left in the second period. 27 seconds left in the penalty. 2-1, Mavericks in the lead. Both teams will get a line change. Out comes Jack Davis, Will Allers.
That's Wyatt Tremaine.
Wyatt Tremaine, Ike, and the boss on defense. Mavs win a face-off. Ike pushes it up the boards into the neutral zone. KC turns it over and brings it back the other way. 13 seconds left in the power play as KC gets it deep into Maverick territory. Ike trying to body their man off the puck. KC feeds it from behind through the crease. Jack tries to keep it in but can't. Or Jack tries to get it out and can't. KC keeps it in once again. Ike hits the brakes, creates some space to pass it ahead to Jack. Jack gets it into the neutral zone, getting bodied as he crossed the red line. Puck goes loosely into Kansas City territory. KC circles behind their own. Allers turns directions, gets batted back behind the net again. KC picks it up behind, pass across to the middle. KC outnumbered by defense, but they gain territory. They dump and chase. Who gets there? Mavericks. Ike ties up his man. Ike trying to get control right as the buzzer sounds to end the second period.
Scoreless
Great
second,
job, Charlottes. You guys are doing great on the scorekeeping.
She's telling me when to press this call.
Good job. So here we go. Both teams will collect on their benches for a pep talk and some strategy. And a fresh 12 minutes will go on the clock here to start the third period. I'm pacing behind Dave and getting wound up for the Mavericks' first win of the season here. That, knock on wood, we're in line for. The next goal is a big one, Dave. We've said it every time that there's only a 1-goal lead.
Right. And we probably, the coaches would probably ask the guys to be a little bit tighter in our own zone to get that puck up ice, not to throw it away, just throw it around the wall, because a lot of times they've got guys there. And so really have to keep our heads up, and we have to support the puck carrier. Our forwards have to be in a position where they can get those breakout passes, and then when they get them, they got to fly. Everybody's got to fly and get going.
You can almost see the conditioning in these boys. Second game of the day. When we start getting exhausted, we start to just dump it up the boards right to their defensemen, and we struggle to get it out of our zone. And that's kind of what we're seeing when we're on our heels in our own zone. So hopefully we can continue that time on attack here, and we can put a couple more goals in the net. For now, 2-1. Mavs still maintain the lead. T-squared. Stonebreaker. Taz out on the face-off drop with Ike and the boss on defense. The beast between the pipes. A big face-off win for the Mavs. Comes back to Ike. Ike lost it for a moment. Goes cross ice. Taz picks it up. Taz makes the zone, but then it goes deep into KC territory. Nice job by Taz to forecheck. Turned over. Here comes T-squared trying to stick handle past 2. Couldn't quite get there. Puck comes out of the zone. Boss realizes. Feeds it back to Ike. Nice job. Feed up to Taz. Taz hammers it in hard. KC picks it up. T-squared on the forecheck. Creates the turnover. Stonebreaker from the goal line. Tries to feed Taz in the middle. Couldn't. Ike loses his footing. 2-on-1. The boss is back to defend. Another player loses his footing. That gives Boss the opportunity to easy play the puck. That comes out of the zone. KC recollects in their own. Gaining some speed out of their territory. Broken up quickly by Stonebreaker at the red line. Stonebreaker fires it in deep. That icing is waved off. A dump and change for the Omaha Mavericks. Got Ike and Boss still out on defense, but we've got Sturba and Heater now out there with Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker turnover at center ice. Getting back check from behind. Sturba tried to help. KC still pokes it out. Nice job by Ike. Stall it out at the red line. KC was able to push it back into Mavs territory, and a little bit too much. That one's in icing, and that stops the play with 10:37 left in the game. 2-1. Mavericks still in the lead.
Now, we talked about this in the first game. Best way to defend a lead like this, play in the offensive zone. Attack as much as you can, but be smart about it. Make sure you've got guys back and don't give up those odd man rushes.
Sturba, Jack, Heater out there on offense. Face-off win back to the Bear. A nice shot. Caught a piece of the goalie and went over. The Bear almost had that one. Nice feed behind to Jack. Then Jack back to Heater in the corner. Rings it back to Jack behind. Jack forced into the corner. Tries to tap it back to his defense, but Kansas City takes over. Gets it out of the zone. Keeney stalls it out at the blue line. Jack Davis tries to move it back the other direction, but KC gains territory. Nice job by Keeney to stir it up and force it to the boards. Puck comes ringing around behind the net. KC keeps it in the zone once again. Bear trying to force it around to Sturba. That one gets out of the zone. KC pushes it back in, and that one's offsides. Really needing to see some more feet moving here by the Mavericks. They're starting to lose some steam. Out comes Courtright. That's Paxson. And that's Wyatt Tremaine on offense. Nandy and Fleming on defense. Puck drops in neutral zone territory. Nice win by the Omaha Mavericks. Courtright tried to skate it ahead. Tapped off of his tape. Pop fly by Fleming. Lands on the blue line, picked up by Kansas City. Kansas City cross ice. Now skating it into the neutral zone. Nice skates by Tremaine. Intercepts it, pushes it back to KC territory. KC with a long ice pass. Fleming intercepts it. That came out of the zone, and that's going to be an offside, stopping the play at 9:26. Coach having a little fun with his team there. As the same legs remain on the ice, and we'll get another neutral zone face-off. Puck drop. KC face-off win. Lost sight of it for a second, but gains control. Schneider on the attack. Nandy comes in to help. Stalled out right in front of us here on the red line. A little back and forth. Tremaine pops off the wall. Nice feed to Courtright. Gets it in the zone. Stick handle taken out.
Penalty.
Still in control. Mavericks try to feed the middle. Courtright stands up. Can't quite get his stick on it. And the puck finally touched by Kansas City. And they're going to go for a tripping call. So Courtright drew the penalty. And Mavericks are going to get a power play for the third time this game. Nice job off the face-off, a quick handoff to Courtright to gain the zone, and Courtright tried to feed it back to the middle after he got tripped just before. So keeping the momentum going, just struggling with getting the passes and shots off quick enough there. 5-on-4 face-off in KC territory. Allers, Heater. Sturba out there on offense. Heater tried to turn and fire one towards the net. A pop fly out of the zone. Fleming's going to collect on his own blue line. The Bear and Fleming out there on defense. Pop fly back up to the blue line. Turned over by KC. Poke checked away by Fleming. The Bear will take over. Bear finding a lane. Gains the offensive zone. Top of the circle. Now the dot. Goal line. Drop pass to Sturba. Through the crease. Back over to the other corner. Allers from the corner. Back to Fleming. Fires into the back of the net. Will Fleming puts it on the top shelf right where Grandma hides the peanut butter. Nice poke check from Will Allers in the corner to feed his defenseman. Had plenty of time and space to skate to the center of the ice and rifle one into the back of the net. 3-1. That's that next goal. That's a big one.
Big one. Fleming from Allers and Bear. 8:26 to go. A power play goal. And a good response there.
Even more, a power play goal.
Yeah, their power play didn't get much going the last time out, so that's a good response by those guys.
Face-off drops, and KC starts making their way into territory. Nice job by Ike. Big save by the Beast. No penalty call as Ike bullied his man down to the ground. Here comes T-Square. T-Square's out skating. Gets to the dot, fires. Big save by the goalie, and that one goes into the netting behind. Nice speed. Good job by Ike to bully his man and not give up and get that play stop before it got to the front of the net on our defensive end.
Now, one thing I've noticed, and I think our coaches have probably noticed too, a lot of rebounds off of this goalie. Pump shots on goal and just drive the net for those rebounds.
Crashing the net's a big one. So we've got Ike and the boss out there on D, T-Squared, Stonebreaker, and Taz out on offense. Another face-off win by KC. They push it up into their players' skates, and the boss is able to stall it out. KC regains control. They gain territory, but they're offsides. T-Square with a slightly late hit after the whistle. I'd say right on the whistle. Fired up his team and got the other team wooing.
One extra move by that guy threw his whole line offside. You got to get it in first, then you can do your moves.
7:53 left in the game. 3-1 Mavs in the lead. KC face-off win in neutral zone territory. They go cross ice and then they dump and chase. Ike trying to get there, but KC gets there first. Ties his man up nicely, but puck coming out towards the center. Picked up by T-Square. T-Square. He's getting chased, but he's gaining the puck out of their zone. Gets it into the offensive territory. Jostles it a little bit and then gets bullied off the puck. Boss comes in to help. Feed to the middle. KC picks it up in their own slot and then skates it out of their zone. Makes their way through traffic. Circles, fires wide of the net. KC picks it up off their own short wall, tries to feed it in deep. Shot from the short wall. Nice kick save, then a rebound, and that one found the back of the net. KC gets their second goal of the game. It's now 3-2. Mavericks still in the lead, but only by one goal now.
Lots of time left, too.
7:05 left in the game. Oh, really? I didn't see it. So I'm hearing from the stands that pass bounced off the referee's skates right onto their player's stick.
Oh, boy. Well, the referees are part of the game, and if that happens, it's all's fair in love and war.
Courtright muscling it into territory, quickly tap back out. KC bullying their way into offensive territory. Nice back check by Jack Davis. Good job by Jack. KC picks it up in the corner. Jack creams another one. Courtright trying to bully his way through one. Jack Davis picks it up behind. Courtright's got to go back and pick it up. Cross ice to Bear. Bear backhands it off the boards to Schneider. Schneider can't get there first. The Bear with a big shoulder-to-shoulder hit. That one's clean.
Crunching hit.
Puck comes back into KC territory. Courtright trying to forecheck, but the pass comes out of to the neutral zone. Here comes Jack Davis to poke check, gets past back past the Bear. Puck goes through the slot and back out to the boards. Long wildly behind Omaha's net. KC there to get there first. Courtright tying it up along the short wall. Blue line defenseman keeps it in. Bear now in his own corner. Pop fly gets out of the zone. Will this one stall out? We do not know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, right on the goal line. No icing is waved off. We got line changes on the fly for both teams. KC gets past the red line. They dump it in. Bear picks it up, rings it around the boards, tries to get it to Heater. KC goes cross ice with it, but keeps it in. Tremaine centering to Heater. Heater gaining territory. Mean bugged by 3 KC men. Turned over. KC gently coming through the neutral zone. Tied up by Fleming. Stalled out at the Mavs bench. Tapped back towards Kansas City blue line. They regroup. Circle into their own zone. KC cross ice pass. Lost control of it. Sturba on the forecheck as KC just rings it around their boards. Tremaine keeps it in. He goes and returns the favor, puts it behind the net. Can Nandor keep it in? Nandor does. He gets hit from behind, but kept the puck in. Sturba tries to get there, couldn't get there before KC. Tremaine trying to battle along the short wall. A little help from Heater will keep it in. Tremaine fed the middle, and nothing but KC boys there. Heater comes in to help, keeps it in. Shot towards the middle. Tremaine couldn't quite get there to get the shot off. But nonetheless, a good shot towards the goal. Tremaine still in the board battle on the short wall. T-squared now comes out with it. Tremaine T-squared back to Tremaine. Comes back to T-squared. T-squared tied up before he got the shot off. Fleming fires. Tremaine took a hard hit there right at the top of the circle, making his way to the bench. The puck comes bouncing back to the center ice, and then KC rings it out of the zone. A puck race. Fleming's got a chaser. Fleming puts on the brakes behind his own goal line. Cross-ice pass. Fed ahead. Mavericks get their pass intercepted. Kansas City keeping it in the zone. Circle behind the Mavericks net. Still circling back out towards the blue line. Cross-ice from the dot. Shot towards, gets deflected back behind. Rung around the board. Short wall tied up. 3 players battling. Comes off the short wall to center. KC shot sticked to the corner by the Beast. KC gets to the rebound first. Feed back out to the blue line. Blue line keeps it in deep in Maverick territory. 3:25 left in the game. Puck gets batted into the netting, and that'll stop it here at 3:22. 3-2, Mavs in the lead. Desperately needing that play stoppage there. The
tired line out there.
KC doing a great job of keeping it in our play, in our zone over here.
It's kind of they sort of went back and forth on that one. We had them pinned in for a while, and then they came back and pinned us in.
Out comes Stonebreaker, Courtright, and Schneider. Face-off win by the Mavs. Ike bowling his way through lots of traffic. Stopped at the red line. Pucks stalled out momentarily. Comes back to the boss. Sorry, that's not the boss. That's Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker to the boss. Gently pushed up ahead. KC recollects in their own zone. Schneider trying to forecheck. Hard pass out of the zone. Gets deflected back in. Stonebreaker going to try and chase. Comes out to neutral zone. A 3-on-1 developing. Here comes KC. Tries to shoot. And that one backfires. Boss, good defense. Gets it out of the zone. Stonebreaker and Courtright on the forecheck. KC splits them. Here comes KC in his zone. Good defense back, but KC in control. A bobbled puck and a score! KC ties it up with 2:26 left in the game. That was another deflected pass that ended up right on the tape of Kansas City's player in the slot. 3-3 is this game score now. Bear.
Let's see what the guys are made of here. That's tough to give up 2 straight goals. Now can they push back with 2:26 to go?
The big lines out there. Jack Davis, Sturba, and Heater. Jack pushes it back to the Bear. Bear over to Heater. Heater chasing it ahead, ties it up, but gets batted away. Back to the Bear. From the red line, gains offensive zone, push to the wall. Now the goal line, shot goes high up into the netting. That stops the play at 2:07 left in the game. 3-3 the score. That'll give us a face-off in KC territory. Same legs remain on the ice. Heater, Sturba, Jack Davis on offense. The Bear and Keeney on defense.
Let's go, Icehawks!
Neutral face-off win ends up on Icehawks tape. KC feeds it all the way down. If this crosses the goal line, should be an icing, and it is. That one will come back to KC territory now with 1:57 left in the game. 3-3, all tied up. Same legs remain on the ice. Jack Davis trying to win that face-off. Gently back to Bear. He does, off the sidewall. Deflected! Goalie made the save. Stalled out for a minute in the crease, but KC saved it. Bear gets it. Dumps it back in from the blue line again. Heater gonna chase into the corner. Heater stops it in the corner. Takes it in deep. Sauces it towards the goal. Batted out of the air. Kansas City skating it out of the zone. Soft toss pass to the neutral zone. Tied up on the blue line. Sturba tried to board it hard. Gets it up to Jack. Jack Davis loses control out to center ice. Sturba trying to come in to help Kansas City. Now skating it through the neutral zone. The Bear with a big hit to stall it out. Jack Heater tried to get it out, then tried to play the man. Up comes another penalty here. I think that one's going to be a tripping on Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe they had the puck.
Kansas City frustrated. A lot of bodying by the Mavericks, and then they end up getting a penalty and getting a little overly aggressive with the tape.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, I heard one of their fans yell interference when Vinny Heater took that guy out to the end wall. He had a point. That could easily have been called, and instead the penalty goes against them. And so the Junior Mavs with the power play with 66 seconds to go here. And for anybody who's wondering, there will be no overtime. This game will end as a tie in regulation if nobody scores.
So a power play for the Mavericks. We see Taz, Allers, Tremaine out there, the little guys on offense. KC with a face-off win. They bat it out to Fleming, picks it up at the red line. Fleming fires just over the goalie's head. Taz pinches it at the short wall. Keeney bodies his reverse check to keep the puck in. Taz hustles, circles it back in deep. Allers in the corner, trying to feed Keeney. The rebound by Wyatt Tremaine. Can't quite get to the net. There's the interference call by Kansas City as a big hit. Roughing is going to be the play. Allers wasn't to the puck yet and got checked before he could get there. That one's going to be a roughing.
Bear comes out now. We want some big, heavy shots back there.
Now we got a lot of littler guys out there. Taz is going to go, and out comes Jack Davis. So a couple of bigger players come out now for this 5-on-3 power play.
36 to go here in regulation.
36 seconds left in the game. Allers will remain on the face-off dot. Like Jack Davis, Wyatt Tremaine has wings.
Face-off wins critical here.
And Fleming.
Don't want to be chasing the puck.
Kansas City can't decide who they want out there for their third man.
They do have last change.
Desperately needing a face-off win here. They don't get it. Allers poke checks, turns it over. Allers tries to feed the middle. Down! Wyatt Tremaine! What an incredible pass by Will Allers at the goal line. Popped up over a stick, and Wyatt Tremaine with a nice little tickle to put it in the back of the net. 4-3, Mavericks take the lead.
And Matt, the Mavericks will still be up 5 men to 4 for the balance of this game.
29.8 seconds left in the game. That wasn't really a face-off win, but a poke check turned it over right after the face-off. And Allers with a fantastic pass and aggressive play to create the goal to put the Mavs ahead.
Tremaine from Allers.
5-on-4. Mavs still
11:30.
have a power play. I don't know why. Maybe they're saying 5-on-3 still.
Why is it 5-on-3 still?
That roughing was a major?
They might have given. Maybe we didn't
Well,
notice
still
that.
they should get one man out of the box. 5-on-3. Not sure why that is.
Okay, yeah, that's a little
Puck
odd.
drops. KC with a win, but turned over quickly by the Mavs. Allers to Wyatt. Wyatt hits the break at the short wall. Cross ice to the Bear. Bear picks it up at the blue line. Stumbles a little bit. Short wall. Fires. Tried to deflect it. Jack Davis. That one goes wide of the net. Tremaine back to Fleming. Fleming can't quite keep it in. Cross ice. Bear taps it in, but that one's offside. 6 seconds left in the game. We'll have a neutral zone face-off and a power play to finish this game strong. 4-3, Mavs still.
Yeah, I don't
in
understand.
this
Now the
lead.
penalty's off, and they.
Yeah, I'm not sure why
Oh, well.
they're not letting them have 4. This is odd. Mavs get the face-off win. Jack Davis tries to push one towards the net as the clock expires, and the Mavericks get their first win of the season in very dramatic fashion. Wait. Let's just leave it right there because you'll end game after that, Charlotte. Let's just leave it right there for a second.
Well, great work by the boys. They got down. They got up, and then they saw their opponents come back, and they stuck with it
Desperately
and took
needed a big
advantage of the
win.
power play. And you could say the power plays came about because of good, hard work in drawing those penalties, and that certainly was the case. And the 5-on-3 power play goal by Wyatt Tremaine, the difference in the Mavericks' first victory of the season.
We saw Will, we saw Courtright, we saw Wyatt,
T-squared?
T-squared. We have 4 different goal scorers today.
Actually, no, Will didn't score a goal.
Will Fleming did.
Oh, Fleming, yes, sorry. Will and Will.
So what a terrific finish here for the first opening day of Hacktoberfest tournament here. The boys come off a tough loss in their first game, 3-1 against Tri-City, and then was able to pull off a victory here in the last minute of their second game, 4-3 against the Kansas City Icehawks. So the boys will get a nice long break and come back at 6:15 p.m. tomorrow night to face off against Fremont, I believe,
Yes.
here back in Breslow Ice Arena. So we'll get a nice long break, and the boys will be able to celebrate a little bit and then refuel, replenish, rest up, and hopefully come back out with their feet moving for this Game 3 tomorrow evening.
Well, good hard work by the boys.
We got to mention a sponsorship opportunity here that Omaha Jr Mavericks are putting on now. We've just gotten information put together for sponsorship opportunities that allow sponsoring parties to put their emblem and audio mention by Dave Allers and Matt Courtright on every one of our broadcasts that go live publicly on YouTube and remain on YouTube for an inevitable period of time. So
To infinity and beyond.
right. So there's terrific sponsorship opportunities that this team and players on this team would greatly appreciate for all of the travel expenses and team building events and registration fees that come with all of these players being able to enjoy hockey this season. Different packages, levels of sponsorships for different varieties of donations. If you're interested, please reach out to the coaches, team managers, Facebook posts, team chats, mention to your players. We will give you that opportunity. All levels from entry-level packages for single games to full tournament and full season packages for level of donation Thank you, everybody, for supporting your Omaha Junior Mavericks this season, and we hope you've enjoyed the